On 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This action update is brought to you by Keeps. Tired of losing your hair? Get 50% off for your first order at keeps.com/vsin. Keeps.com/vsin.
The U.S. Open underway today at Torrey Pines. John Rahm, the odds-on favorite, at plus 1,000. Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, and Jordan Spieth each at plus 1,600. Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele at plus 1,800. After a heroic performance by Kevin Durant for the shorthanded Nets in Game 5, the Nets have a chance to clinch a spot in the conference finals with a win in Game 6 tonight in Milwaukee. The Bucks are a home favorite, minus 5.5, the over-under 220. Stanley Cup semifinals, the Lightning and Islanders tonight. The series tied at 1 game apiece. Tampa Bay, the road favorite, minus 145 on the money line. Islanders plus 125, the over-under 5.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we're off and running. It is another brand new live edition of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. And what a day we've got in store for you today. We've got a jammed-packed show, a lot of great stuff to get to, a lot of fun stuff to get to today. And we've been telling you that the Huntsville-Madison County area could have not one but two representatives in the Olympics later this year in Tokyo. Half of that equation became official last night in Omaha, of all places. Now, the other one will come later this year for the track and field, and that is Javon Harrison of Columbia, one of the top high jumpers, long jumpers in the world. His high jump is one of the best in the world. In fact, it would be like leaping over George Mirasan. That's how tall he has been able to leap. But last night in Omaha, Zach Harding, who is a Bob Jones alum, a Louisville alum, swam here competitively for the Huntsville Swim Association, still comes back and swims here a little bit, trains here when he can during the summer months. But last night in Omaha, Zach entered the 200-meter butterfly. Now, that was Michael Phelps' race for years, still holds the American record. And Zach Harding came in tied as the top seed going into it. Hence, that's why he was in lane 4 last night. Wins the 200-meter butterfly and stamps his ticket to the Olympics in Tokyo, becoming the first Olympian in the pool since Margaret Holzer back in 2004 and 2008 to head to the Olympics. And after his 200-meter butterfly swim, Harding talking about the dream.
A lot of people work their whole lives, and then they get told they have a dream when they're children, and they're told that, that's not how the world works when they grow up. And for me, ever since I was 7, I started swimming. My dream was to represent the U.S. at the Olympics. And not a whole bunch of people get to turn their dreams into realities, and I'm really grateful for that. I work my butt off every day for that, and that's you can do it. That's just what dreams coming true.
We're seeing a bit of a changing of the guard in this event with Michael Phelps' retirement. So what does it mean to you to sort of step into those shoes and represent the United States?
Obviously, those are big shoes to fill. I wake up every day to get better. To represent the U.S. is honestly big. At this stage, that's the biggest there is. I hope I let everybody, hang on here. Straight from the race. I'm not going to let anybody down.
Zach Harding headed to the Olympics, headed to Tokyo. And I mean, what an honor. I have had the thrill of watching this kid grow up and develop, and it is just an awesome sight to see.
Yeah, it is, no doubt, Scott. A great thing for for our area and for our city and for and for Madison County. I mean, it's not every day when you get mentioned with the great Margaret Holzer and you get a chance to put on the red, white, and blue and go to the Olympics. You informed everybody about that at the end of our show yesterday, and that it was something a headline for today, and it certainly is. With Zach Harding doing what he did, the former Bob Jones Patriot. I mean, when you're trying to fill the shoes of Michael Phelps, who arguably is the greatest swimmer of all time, and especially in his specialty, when you're talking about the butterfly, that's a tremendous accomplishment. And now he's got a chance to go to Tokyo and not just compete, but to win a medal and perhaps even win a gold. And so that would be just unbelievable. We're really happy for him, his family. We hope they're listening this morning, and certainly we hope to, hear from Zach and the people around him during this process.
He's got 2 more chances to make a couple other events. He's got the 100-meter butterfly, and he's got a couple other things that he can do. So he may not be done yet, but for sure he'll be swimming the 200-meter butterfly in Tokyo.
And by the way, that when he swims and competes in the 200-meter butterfly in Tokyo, do we know yet the dates of that event?
I don't know. I haven't even looked at the Olympics. I haven't even looked at when the Olympics start. So
we understand that it should have happened last year, but was of course rescheduled due to COVID. And so now they're going to be able to compete this summer over in Tokyo. So we just look forward to Zach and everyone that's putting that USA across their chest trying to compete.
It's fast. July 23rd is when the Olympics get underway. That's when our opening ceremonies will be, is July 23rd, and they run through August 8th.
That's right at the day, I want to say the day after the SEC Media Days ends.
Yeah, so that is when the Olympics get underway. We've got a lot of other stuff to get to, but let's get out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Who do we got? Shane joining us this morning. Good morning, Shane.
You know what Shane's going to talk about. It was brutal last night.
Yeah, good morning, fellas. So, you know what? I'm to the point now where I'm firing the whole friggin' bullpen. I'm sick of them.
That would be the Atlanta Braves bullpen.
Yeah, that's why I said we know what he's going to talk about, because A.J. Minter was A.J. Minter last night. He was Mitch Williams. He couldn't miss a bat. And Shane Green with the getting squeezed a little bit by the umpire. But once again, a walk's a walk. And the Braves end up the offense is not the problem. I mean, they scored 8 runs. And then, of course, horrific base running ended the game last night, horrific decision making. But still, the bullpen is terrible. I agree completely with you, Shane. This is totally on Alex Anthopoulos. I'm going to defend Brian Snitker here. You cannot – he's only giving what he can – the tools that he can try to utilize. He butchered the bullpen. He should have signed Melanson. He totally blew it. And I'm going to tell you what, I'd give him one more year or he'd be Frank Rend and his ass would be out of here. He's got to, because I think this is a talented enough team. I know the lineup hasn't produced like they wanted. Perhaps he can finally swing a trade for another bat. But, of course, here's the deal. I mean, everybody wanted him to re-sign Ozuna. He did. Then Ozuna gets arrested. Plus, he wasn't swinging the bat very well and got injured. And so you've got him on 3 more years. But he is a talented hitter. But you still look like you need another bat. And so, but the biggest thing that he butchered is, because I think if Soroka's healthy, I think the starting rotation can work itself out. But the bullpen, as you're talking about, is absolutely horrendous. Even the closer that they spent tons of money on, Will Smith, he's not consistent. It's the worst Braves bullpen I've probably ever seen.
It is. I mean, and if you think about it, how many times do you see a team that has, as great as an offense as we do? I mean, because they can hit. The Braves can hit. And we're kind of like the Yankees right now. You look at the offense, the production, how many runs we're scoring. We should be competing for, this year we should be competing for a World Series. I mean, we have good enough offense to do that. I understand injuries has plagued us, but, the bullpen, with this bullpen, there's no way in hell we're going to have a chance to do anything. We're not even going to catch the Mets in the division. I mean, if Alex Anthopoulos doesn't do anything at the trade deadline, then, Drew, you're exactly right. He'd be fired. His ass to be out of there this year because I'm sick of him. But, at the same time, I called in yesterday and spoke to Wes and those guys, and I said, he is kind of handcuffed with what he has to work with because of ownership. I mean, we don't spend money where we should, and we spend money where we shouldn't. I mean, like you said, what did we pay Will Smith again, Drew?
Like, I want to say it was over $50 million. It was like a 4-year deal, something to that effect, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, just a complete waste of money. You should have spent that money on Mark Melanson. I agree with you 1,000%. I mean, I just don't get it because, like I told you before, I was going to kind of hold on to Tyler Matzik and A.J. Minter, but those guys have completely sucked this year. I mean, you can't hold on to a guy because he has a couple of good games when when he's giving up bukus of runs every other time. So
yeah, I completely agree with you. But the thing is, the one that bothered me, not so much Will Smith, because they signed him a couple years ago. The one that bothered me was that you signed Drew Smiley, who I didn't think was needed. I think you got some young starters you need to be trying to develop, like a Bryce Wilson, like a Kyle Wright. And then you re-sign Melanson, who's a veteran, who I don't care what the radar gun says, Shane. I just know he gets him out, okay?
True.
That's all.
But you know what? I wouldn't bring what's the two you said? Bryce Wilson and Kyle Wright. I would not bring Kyle Wright back. I just don't think he's good enough. And I hate to say that because buddy I work with, he's married to his daughter. So,
yeah.
But I tell him every day, I'm just like, regardless, he just can't pitch in the big leagues. And Bryce Wilson, we should have kept him up there. I don't know why we sent him back. I mean, I understand we had, young talent coming up, and our rotation was kind of coming together, but then now there are more injuries plaguing us. So I would just keep Bryce Wilson up there. He was actually pitching pretty well this year. I mean, he had a couple of outings where, he got smashed, but, I mean, otherwise he was pitching pretty damn good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and Chad, our resourceful producer, thank you, Chad. 3 years, $39 million for Smith, so it wasn't 4 years. I don't know if they have another option, but still, they spent big money on him. He hasn't been the swing and miss guy you would think. He did pitch a good inning last night, but again, the Braves were losing in the ball game. So I do think that Anthopoulos is going to have to, take a long look at this bullpen, see what he can do. They actually made some really good moves a couple of years ago that set them up, Melanson being one of them. I just was surprised that I know he's an older guy, but that they didn't try. And he was out there for a long time waiting for a contract. And so to me, I would have gone with him as the veteran because you've got a young rotation, really, because when you think about it, Soroka and Fried are really young guys. I know they went and got Charlie Morton because they wanted a veteran starter, but I think that veteran bullpen, they kind of took them for granted a little bit, and the moves that Anthopoulos made haven't worked. And so I'm going to be fascinated, like you are, to see what the Braves do at the deadline because they're still in it. And you have to understand with the wild card, you've got a chance to play better because remember, the Nationals were terrible. Scott and I have talked about that when they won the World Series the first nearly 3 months until they got hot the second half of the year, got the wild card, and ended up winning the World Series.
Well, thanks for the call, Shane.
Yep.
Thanks. Yeah, but unfortunately, Drew, there's only 3 teams in Major League Baseball that have not been above 500 all year. The Braves, Marlins, and Rangers are the 3 teams in Major League Baseball that have not had an above 500 record at some point this year. Now, the Braves are 6.5 games back of the Mets, 6.5 games back of wild card right now. The trade deadline is July 31st. So we'll have to see. You got about a little over a month.
And they've got a tough schedule. And then they got the Cardinals coming in today to start a 4-game series. The Cards are much like the Braves. They've been struggling with their bullpen, and they're only 35-33. But eventually, if you're the Braves, you've got to try to string some wins together. This bullpen needs to settle down and start getting some people out. But the problem is, A.J. Minter, I've been saying, he's like Mitch Williams light. You just never know what you're going to get out of him. He may come in there and be the Terminator and throw strikes and get you out of a jam, or he may do what he did last night, throw a slider that doesn't do what it needs to do. He doesn't have the break on it, and you get a pinch hit grand salami that goes about 460 feet. So, and basically loses you the ball game because you're up 7-6 after a Freddie Freeman home run, and you end up losing 10-8.
Troy's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Troy.
Hey guys. Hey Drew. There was a story back in February about Mark Melanson and why he did not re-sign with Atlanta, it wasn't a case of Anthopoulos didn't pursue him. It was a case of, and he made the comment of, he wanted to go play for a winner. He took less money to go play for San Diego because he knew that was going to be a winner. And that's pretty telling, and it's a really awful look for the Braves.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, I don't understand what he meant by a winner, only because the Padres haven't been to the World Series since the Cows have come home. And the Braves were one out away from, or basically a good inning away from doing it against the Dodgers. I mean, one win away from going to the World Series. So I don't really understand that. And he was a huge part of it. He was the closer on that team. So certainly San Diego's been spending money, though, trying to be a winner. I'm not saying they're not. And they did make the playoffs last year, but they weren't as good as the Braves. So, but they do have a lot of good young talent. They seem to have now. In the past, San Diego wasn't considered an organization that spent a ton of money trying to win, but they've kind of, I guess, to keep up with the Dodgers, their ownership has gone all in. They do have a great ballpark as well. Personally, I love the old school uniforms, love the look. I think they've got a chance to make a run. But again, I agree with you. I don't think the Braves have great ownership. I do think Liberty Media won't go all in. I wish it was Ted Turner who was there that would just spend money and try to win. But again, it's still on Alex Anthopoulos, though. It's just with Alex, you don't have – it's not like the Yankees. Like the Yankees have made mistakes too, but they can just continue to spend money in a market like that. With the Braves, they have a certain budget they have to go by, and if you screw it up like they did with this bullpen, it's tough to fix. But going to be interesting to see if these guys, if they get better – as a bullpen and start pitching better, or if Anthopoulos is able to make a move or two to get guys in different roles where the Braves can get back in contention. It's going to be really fascinating. And, of course, the Ozuna situation. He's got to heal up, but what's his legal situation going to be, and is Major League Baseball going to take any action against him?
Yeah, that's a tough situation with Ozuna. It's kind of like the guy they had several years ago from Cuba.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
same situation.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
And now they're going to be weighed down with that contract for forever. Melanson, they got him from San Francisco. It's possible that he just liked the West Coast and he just wanted to go back. You don't know, but then again, he could have been very well aware after witnessing firsthand the curse of Georgia. Georgia has been a football half away from a Super Bowl victory.
Well, they really had it. It wasn't even a half. It was a Julio Jones catch. All they had to do was run the damn ball and kick a field goal with Matt Bryant, and the head coach, who's already blown 2 Super Bowls because he blew one 2 years ago with the 49ers, Shanahan, decides to continue to try to throw the ball, and they don't kick it to go up 11 on the Patriots. If you're up 11, you're probably going to win the game. In fact, I'd say you would. But again, you're right. Yeah, there is a curse a little bit.
It's well documented, even with Georgia. A Tua Tagovailoa touchdown pass in overtime away from a national championship. And then, gosh, the Braves themselves for years through the 90s. They've been to the show and always came up as the bridesmaid. Never really the bride. Did they?
Yeah,
so I guess he just kind of saw the pattern, saw the trend, and was just like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Something's in the water.
I got you.
Could be.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Troy. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for the call. Yeah. All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And Mark Melanson, as you mentioned, did head to the Padres. It was just a $2 million deal when he left Atlanta. And one of the reasons why, probably because he wasn't really worried about the money, was because his previous deal was for $62 million. So obviously he's chasing a ring, and that would be one of the reasons
and
why.
He's been around a while,
right?
Yeah.
So he's at that point where he was chasing a ring, and who knows? Maybe lots of times you see what's going to happen possibly next year, and. I don't know. I think last year it's so hard to read about any team because it was just a 60-game season last year, and there are teams this year that were around for those 60 games last year that were in contention into the playoffs that aren't even close to making it this year. They're nowhere even near getting into the playoffs. Like Minnesota last year was one of the best teams in baseball last year in a 60-game sprint. This year they're 27-41, one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball. So can't read a lot into how a team did last year in the 60-game sprint because this is a full season.
Well, it is, and Chad brought up another good point, doing a great job with the research. And for who Troy was referring to, it was Hector Oliveira, who was from Cuba, who they were bringing in to be a big bat. And they gave up Alex Wood, Bronson Arroyo, Jim Johnson, and Luis Avalon, and another top prospect at the time, Jose Peraza, for Oliveira. And he didn't stay with the Braves very long. He as you heard Troy say, he got into some legal trouble, some domestic stuff, and he never was. Chad, I don't know if he was suspended from baseball. I don't think he was, but he was traded. The Braves found a way to trade him off. And when they did, they certainly was able to. It didn't cost them the money that they've invested in Ozuna, but we never really heard from him again either. And
he only played 30 games in 2 seasons.
Yeah, 30 games in 2 seasons in the big league. So he was like a guy they were bringing in to be a big bat, maybe a third base outfield type guy. And it never worked out. And they were able to trade him. And long term, it didn't hurt Atlanta too badly. But they did lose a guy like Alex Wood, who has still become a pretty good major league pitcher. But I don't think starting pitching is the Braves' problem, honestly, especially if Soroka gets healthy. It's mostly the length of the lineup, and then, of course, this bullpen. The bullpen is the biggest issue.
And then Marcell Ozuna is not in the lineup right now with all that troubles, too.
And then you really don't know what's going to happen with him.
Right. So, I mean, that's a bat missing.
Yep.
All right, so 256-576-4977. A lot of Braves talk to start the show. I did look. Zach will swim July 26th in the 200 fly. That'll be his first time swimming in the waters there if he only makes it in the 200 fly. The 100 fly is sooner.
Right.
But for right now, his first time in the water will be the 26th. The semifinals, if he's fortunate enough, will be swam on the morning of the 27th. And if he's fast enough to get into the finals, that'll be the 27th that evening. So that's his lineup there right now. Let's get our break in. When we come back, we're going to talk some Texas A&M football and baseball. A lot of high expectations for Jimbo Fisher and company in Aggie land. Plus, they made a new hire on the baseball diamond as well.
A huge hire, and who better to talk to than our good friend, it's been too long, of TexAgs.com. That's Olin Buchanan going to join us next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That problem on 565 westbound is construction. They push you down into 2 lanes after you get past Research Park. It's a short distance, and then you're back to normal lanes there, but it's causing some major backup. 72 east of Mooresville Road coming out of Athens. Got an accident trying to clear. Had one in Decatur Beltline and Gord Terry that should be about wrapped up. Is the ocean breeze calling your name? Is your body swimsuit ready? 2030 Fast Track can show you how to drop 4 sizes in 4 weeks, just in time to hit the beach. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Having your own home is awesome, but it's also a lot of work. The good news? Finding help for your projects is easier than ever. Introducing Angie, the app that puts all your home care needs at your fingertips. Need a pro to fix that emergency leak? Maybe find someone to build a deck, or even set your seasonal tasks on autopilot. Angie can handle all that and more. Expert pros, hundreds of home projects, clear pricing, and the easiest way to book and pay in seconds. This is Angie, your home for everything home. Download the app today.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Ann Adams. Ann, I understand you have some exciting news.
Yes, Wes, I do. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services was just recognized in the 30th Annual Harris Poll Equitrend as the Real Estate Agency Brand of the Year and the most trusted real estate brand.
That is awesome news, and great companies in Huntsville, Alabama, winning awards is what we want. Is it a great time to list your home?
Yes, it is. The inventory is low, and the market is heating up.
And I understand you're also looking for agents.
I am. We are so busy, Wes, we need agents to keep up with the demand.
Ann Adams and Rise Real Estate has been doing business in North Alabama for the last 35 years. If you want to do business with someone you can trust, she has been writing contracts since she was 9 years old. Call Ann today at 256-337-2625.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
This is the only place for Drew DeArmond, Wes Neighbors, and of course, Tom Abraham.
I never met him, but I hear that he's a man of character.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And indeed, welcome back to Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone on this Thursday morning. Beautiful start to your Thursday morning here in the Tennessee Valley. And we have used a lot of these way too early expectation polls, these talks and everything about and predicting records. Remember yesterday we went over the projected records for everybody in the SEC. And the one team that we keep talking about is Texas A&M, and that, the projected record, I believe, of what was 12-1 or something like that for Jimbo Fisher. But he's got to replace a quarterback, and a lot of answers, I think, a lot of questions that we need to try to figure out about Texas A&M.
Well, I still think they've got an extremely talented roster, no doubt. And they're coming off of a breakthrough year, even though it was COVID, and but they handled it much like Alabama, better than most. And they were able to get a huge win over the Florida Gators that I think kind of, springboarded them to a big year. And then they were able to they didn't have the success against Alabama they wanted, certainly early at Bryant-Denny Stadium, but that didn't define their season, and they ended up finishing very, very strong. Now they just have to replace a guy, a four-year starter, Kellen Mond, that was as productive as any in Texas A&M history. But as we've said yesterday, Jimbo Fisher has a reputation as a quarterback whisperer, and now with the supporting cast coming back, the running game intact, a good offensive line, skill guys, including some receivers that missed time due to injury last year that will be back, tight ends as well, and then a defense under Mike Elko that should be one of the best in the SEC. A lot of expectations for A&M football, and who better than to help us break that down, and then to talk about another huge move in SEC baseball, a huge hire made by the Aggies, is our good friend Olin Buchanan of TexAgs.com, TexAgs Radio. Olin, man, we hope you're having a good summer so far. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
I'm hot. In Texas, it's going to be hot in the summer, so we know that. But, yeah, we're doing well.
Yeah. It's been really hot, though, there lately, hasn't it?
We don't even consider it hot till it gets in triple digits.
Okay.
And we've hit it. We've hit it a few times.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Olin. But speaking of hot, a lot of expectations going into this coming 2021 season for Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. The big question, though, is quarterback. I don't think it's a question of talent. It's a question of which guy and if Jimbo can get the production out of the position that we see him do year in and year out, what he did at Florida State, what he did inheriting Kellen Mond. But a lot of pieces returning for the Aggies.
Yeah, 6 offensive starters, all the skilled players except Kellen Mond. You have an All-American in Kenyon Green, who is at left guard that shifted out the left tackle. Defense, 9 starters coming back.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the guys that they lost, Bobby Brown, they feel really good about his replacement with Kenley Jackson. So they feel like they're going to be a lot better on defense, even better than they were last year when they were started a freshman corner. And I think Jalen Jones got better as the year went on. And like you said, a lot of the projection about A&M centers around the quarterback, either Haynes King or Zach Calzada. Most of us think Haynes King is going to win that competition, but who knows? And I do know that Jimbo Fisher has said that he has indicated he's very optimistic about both. Feels like both are really doing well. Has said that Haynes King really has a grasp of the offense. So maybe that transition won't be as difficult as you think. But I can remember a few years ago when everyone was telling me the quarterback at Auburn was going to win the Heisman Trophy, and then Jeremy Johnson didn't even get, I think, to halfway through the season before he was replaced. So until you actually see a guy play, you have to have a certain amount of apprehension.
Yeah, and this Texas A&M offense has been very productive the last couple years, but everybody wants to use the word explosiveness when it comes to offense and college football. Does this offense this year take that leap to be explosive?
Well, I think it certainly has a chance. I think it could have been more explosive last year. Kellen, for all the good things about him, seemed apprehensive about throwing deep, especially after Caleb Chapman, the wide receiver who had 2 deep catches against Florida, after he was lost for the year, making a 50-yard touchdown catch against Florida. He tore an ACL at the end of that play. So they think he's going to be back and 100%. Anaya Smith, I think, has proven that he's an explosive guy that's kind of like the kid at Florida last year, Tony. And they've got a guy, DeMond Demas, that they're very excited about. He just wasn't quite ready to play last year, but he's put on some bulk so he can get off press coverage better, and they think he could be a big-time receiving threat. And then, I don't know if you saw the Orange Bowl, but Devon Achane might be the fastest player in college football. He qualified for the Olympic trials in the 100 and 200. And, he was the Orange Bowl MVP with a couple of long runs against North Carolina. So I think there's going to be some elements there that can make you more of a big play offense. But again, is your quarterback going to be able to capitalize on all those? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, Olin, I wanted to ask you about both those guys because we saw a little bit of Haynes King in Tuscaloosa as he came off the bench when the game was out of hand and was able to get some time against Alabama. We haven't seen as much as Zach Calzada. I guess first with King, he seems to have a really good athleticism, mobility. What are his strengths in your mind as a quarterback?
Okay, Drew, I could barely hear you there for a while, but I think you were asking me about the attributes and the
of Haynes King, yeah,
quarterback.
Right.
Haynes is first of all, he's a really good runner.
Yes.
Really fast, one of the fastest guys on the team.
Mm-hmm.
He's a coach's son, won the state championship for Longview High School. It was their first state championship at Longview High School since 1939, which incidentally was the last year Texas A&M won a national championship. So put that in your back pocket.
Right.
He has a good arm, not a great arm that I've seen. I think he can make all the throws, but I don't think he's going to make one. I don't think he's going to have that kind of arm where, it's just a cannon. But Zach Calzada does. He has as big an arm as you'll see in college football. And, he's not a stiff, but he's not nearly as mobile as Haynes King is. So it's going to be really interesting to see which way Jimbo's going to go with that. He says that the team decides who the quarterback is. I'll say this, and I don't know if it's going to make any difference, but, 3 years ago, he had the mobile quarterback in Kellen Mond competing against the big arm quarterback in Nick Starkel, and he went with Mond, and I think that mobility had a lot to do with it, and I would suspect that mobility will give Haynes King an edge, too.
Mm-hmm. C.J. Spiller will be back in the backfield for Texas A&M. Or Isaiah. I want to say. I knew I would say that, but Isaiah Spiller will be back in the outfield. No doubt talented, but are we going to see a 1-2 punch though more often this season from that running back spot?
Well, we saw it a lot last year, but it was Anaya Smith who actually started the year at running back, and then Isaiah Spiller played so well that they realized, hey, we got to get both these guys on the field at the same time. So they moved Anias back to receiver and brought him back into running back on certain sets. But here's the deal. Isaiah is as good a running back as there is in the country. I think he proved that. But Devon A-Chain is just so good, you've got to give him carries. So I think that Spiller will still be the feature back. I think he'll be the number one back. And I think when you get maybe defenses winded a little bit, or when Isaiah needs a breather, you can bring in, again, the fastest running back in college football and, maybe take advantage of some fatigue or just give your team a boost. But they definitely have some threats at running back, which is really funny because this time last year, running back was a big question. Offensive line was a big question, and quarterback even was a question. And they were all answered in a very positive way. So, the hope is that, that'll be the case this year.
Yeah, and then they should have a lot of weapons. Anaya Smith, I know you thought at one time last year when you came on with us, you thought he was the most dynamic and best player on the offense. I'm assuming that he's going to be used in the slot quite a bit, Olin. And then you've got a 1-2 punch at tight end. With Jalen Windemeyer coming back, he really hurt Alabama. And then if Baylor Cupp's healthy, that's a pretty good duo right there.
Yeah, in fact, Baylor Cupp was, I think, the number one tight end prospect coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Big, athletic guy who can really run. But he's had injuries. He's been injury prone, so he hasn't been able to play for 2 years. And with him out, Jalen Windemeyer has emerged as one of the best tight ends in the country, if not the best. He's right there in the discussion. So I think you'll see, if they can keep Baylor Cupp healthy, I think you'll see them use him in double tight formations, and they'll figure out ways to try to work out mismatches with him. He's fast enough and talented enough, for them to put him in the slot, maybe even out wide. He's one of those guys who's kind of a receiver in a tight end's body. But the first step with him is keeping him healthy. Haven't been able to yet. If he stays healthy all year with Windemeyer, it's certainly another weapon that they can utilize.
We've talked a lot about the offensive side of the ball and how many, talented individuals are going to be able to do whatever. Run the ball, throw the ball, pass, do whatever. But do they have enough on the defensive side to stop everybody from scoring? Is
9 starters returning, so they've got, and as Owen said, McKinley Jackson replacing Bobby Brown.
Yeah, I think the loss of Buddy Johnson at inside linebacker is more of a concern because they have guys they like, but none of them have played quite a bit. And Buddy was kind of that heart and soul of the defense, real leader type guy. Andre White has backed him up, and they like him. They have Edgerrin Cooper, kid out of Louisiana, really fast. They've liked what they've seen from him. So they've got guys that they feel like can do the job. But of course, they got to go in there and prove they can do it on a play-by-play basis. But I'll say this for the linebacker, you're going to have a good defensive line in front of you, one of the best. I think the Marvin Leal, I still can't figure out how he didn't make all conference, even second team last year at N, and he's projected as a first-round pick. I've seen some project him in the top 5. He's a great player. And, again, McKinley Jackson, Jaden Peavy decided to exercise a super senior season. He's a really nice player that with a lot of experience has been productive. And on the defensive end, Michael Clemens had 4 sacks in 5 games before wrecking his knee last year. He looks great. He's back. They got several other people that have played a lot. They've got a guy, Donnell Harris, who was a true freshman last year, who was a big time recruit out of Miami. That just they needed to put some weight on him. He's back. They got a lot of and heavier, so they got a lot of hopes for them. I think they feel like a chance to have a much better pass rusher. Pass rush is there. The secondary they feel great about. Miles Jones decided to exercise a super senior season, so he's back, as well as I mentioned Jalen Jones at the other corner, and then Damani Richardson played hurt last year and was still better than most. He's healthy, and Leon O'Neal's been a guy back there. The guy to watch, though, is Antonio Johnson. As a freshman last year, made a lot of plays, and he's so good. I don't know where they're going to play him, but it's going to be really hard to keep him on the sideline because when he does play, he's consistently productive.
Yeah, and it looks like the schedule to me sets up pretty well for A&M. They have to go to Colorado, but that seems like something they can handle, especially with that defense. Defense travels. And, of course, the Arkansas game has always been interesting, but they've got a really good shot to be unbeaten before they play Alabama on the 9th of October.
Yeah, I think they have a good shot to be unbeaten. They got to take care of their business, obviously. And, they've learned a long time ago that despite whatever Arkansas issues may have,
right,
they always play, probably maybe their best game against A&M. Mississippi State struggles last year, but they'll be in their second year under Leach, and A&M knows never to just dismiss Mississippi State. That's come back to bite them more than once. But that'd be great because I'm counting on – we're all expecting Alabama to be undefeated, so that'd be great to have a couple of 6-0 teams coming in here on October 9th, Jimbo Fisher's birthday, by the way, and have ESPN and game day and everything here, and a lot of excitement. And personally, I think that A&M matches up talent-wise with Alabama better than they probably ever have, even since the 2012 game, because they just had more defense than they had even that year, and definitely the 2013 year. So I don't know that I would pick A&M today, but I do think that they match up better than they ever have since joining the SEC. And quite frankly, if you'll remember that game last year, the A&M was not going to win that game. I'm not going to say that, but if Anaya Smith, your best player, doesn't drop a pass on 4th and 4 or 4th and 2 just before the half, A&M might have been in the playoffs because that game would have turned out to be a lot closer. Alabama wouldn't have scored just before the half and gone up 35-14. It might have been 28-21 at half. Mm-hmm. If he catches that ball that's right in his hand, maybe A&M and Alabama would have played twice last year. So it'll be good to see it if both those teams come in unbeaten.
How many times have you been asked if this is the year that Jimbo Fisher gets past Alabama?
Oh, gosh, it's so funny. He said that quote that everybody's making a big deal of, that he's going to beat Nick Saban before he retired, and people nationally started saying that, he said he's going to beat him this year, and that's not what he said. But I do think that they're going to have, like I said, the best chance they've had since 2012, or they had a chance in 2013. But this year they have defense to go with their offense. I don't think you ever pick against Alabama. It's kind of like, I don't know how old you guys are, but when I was a kid, Muhammad Ali was the heavyweight champion of the world, and he might lose here and there, but you didn't go into you didn't watch him and pick him to lose. So right. Yeah, it can happen, but you just go ahead and pick Alabama to win until somebody actually beats them.
Well, and speaking of a huge hire, though, before we let you go, your thoughts on I know Rob Childress had a great run at A&M. Won a lot of ball games, went to Omaha, Olin, but they go out and hire a guy that Texas has tried to hire. I know that many different programs have kicked the tires with Jim Schlossnagle. Couldn't get him to move from TCU, but after 18 years, he's moving across the state. What a huge hire for Ross Bjork and A&M.
Well, there's a lot of excitement. First of all, understand baseball's the second biggest sport at A&M. Mm-hmm. And so they expect to be successful, and they've had some success But I don't know that baseball success at A&M is defined by just getting in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
And when you don't even get in this year, that's a travesty. You're this close to Houston, where some of the best high school baseball in the country played, and yet you haven't been able to recruit Houston very well. And you know who does? Jim Schlossnagle. And he took over a moribund TCU program and took them to the College World Series 5 times. 2 of those times he beat A&M in the Super Regional. So, I think, you never know how it's going to work out. Just because you're successful at one place doesn't guarantee you'll be as successful as another. But you've got to like the commitment that A&M makes to baseball, and you've got to like the track record that Jim Schlossnagle has on the diamond and also recruiting in Houston. If you can recruit well in Houston, you can win at a very high level.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. And we expect Texas A&M to bounce back and win quickly under Jim Schlossnagle. The SEC just getting stronger, and now we'll see where LSU pivots with the retirement of Paul Maneri. Well, Olin, we really appreciate it. All the best info when it comes to the Aggies. Let everybody know how to connect with you guys over at TexAgs.com.
Yeah, please give us a look at TexAgs.com, an abbreviated version of Texas Aggies. That's TexAgs.com. And if you don't mind, give me a follow on Twitter. It's just my name, Olin Buchanan.
And we look forward to seeing you at SEC Media Days, man. It's always great.
I'll be there.
Thanks, Olin. Be safe.
Olin Buchanan with us on a Thursday morning. Let's get our break in so we can wrap up hour number 1 next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had some problems going westbound this morning on 565. That traffic at times was backed up to the Space and Rocket Center. They've been pushing traffic down to 2 lanes because of construction. Got a wreck working in Madison, County Line and Mill. Got one coming out of Athens, 72, west of Mooresville Road. Beltline and Gordon Terry in Decatur should be clear now. Routine care to heart failure. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Doctor visits are important. Please don't put them off. Captain Eck in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Our latest zone deal is from the Hummus and Pita Company, where everything served is made from scratch right on site. Executive Chef Jose Tapia's menu draws its inspiration from across the Mediterranean and beyond, with nods to Greece, Israel, Morocco, and the Middle East. And right now, you can enjoy $50 worth of the scratch-made goodness of the Hummus and Pita Company for half price, just $25. Log on 977ESPN.com now for your half-price zone deal from the Hummus and Pita Company, and get yours before they're gone.
Hey friends, Eli Gold here for Environmental Comfort Systems. If you're concerned about the air quality inside your home, give my friend Rick Smith a call at Environmental Comfort Systems. Their indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of indoor air contaminants. Give the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and see how comfortable you can be. Breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Listen to the Tom Abraham Show.
And he loves fishing.
The average shift is 52 seconds. If you get into a minute 10, minute 12, your legs are burning because they get out there and they go like hell. You're talking about skating and doing the other, the stick handling and everything else, but your legs just are on fire because you go so hard.
As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey. I miss the Knicks.
Listen to the Big Dog. Weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
I love overpriced stuff. Avocados, designer t-shirts, artisanal water. That's why I get my internet from the other guys. Paying more for the same stuff. What could be better?
wow is better. For just $19.99 a month, we give you the super fast, reliable internet you need and the awesome customer service you deserve. Act now for our best deal of the year. Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, learn how to get $200 on us at Huawei.com. Limited to new customers with auto pay and paperless billing. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you don't happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, 7:53 on this Thursday morning, and you and I during the break, Drew, were talking about Tua and everything that's going on because he's been captivating the national audience because the other day during training camp, he threw 5 interceptions, 4 of them in 7-on-7, 1 during a practice drill or during a full scrimmage. Throws 6 touchdowns. Everyone wants to talk about his training camp numbers. Tua's talking about why he threw the interceptions.
That's just been the emphasis for us coming out to this first day of minicamp, was just to be aggressive, push the ball downfield. Now, obviously, you want to be smart, but if there's a time to make mistakes, now's the time to make mistakes. And we're just trying to see what we can fit in the hole, what we can throw within coverages, and come in the film room and then learn from it.
Yeah, I mean that is what it is, and of course the interceptions were in a monsoon. I mean they didn't have the greatest weather. It does rain in Miami, and so I still think Tua's got a very bright future. I think the Dolphins were smart to hold on to him. Deshaun Watson would have cost too much, and now you don't even know Watson's future due to his legal situation with the Houston Texans. It doesn't look like right now he's going to be traded. If he is, that's going to have to resolve itself, and then I guess you could see something happen maybe during training camp. But again, I think Tua's got a bright future. I think Miami had a good draft. I think he's going to be able to hook up with Jalen Waddle quite a bit, and Waddle's going to bring a big play element, both special teams-wise and to the wide receiver room for Miami. And just looking forward to year 2 there. They were 1 win away from going to the playoffs, and I think the Patriots are retooling. You're seeing some good things and hearing good things from Mac Jones. Looks like he's the best quarterback so far during their mini camp. But you've also got the Buffalo Bills. It's a good division, and I think Miami's got a chance to make a move.
All right, let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline as we finish up hour number 1. Pat with us on a Thursday morning. Good morning, Pat.
Morning, Pat. We got you, Pat?
Nope, we don't. obviously, we'll try to reconnect with him here.
Give us a call back, brother. Yeah, we haven't been
in
able
a
to.
minute. We're getting ready, but Tua also did talk about, hey, it was good to practice in the rain.
It was really good. And we're going to have to play in the rain. We're going to have to play in conditions where the ball is going to be wet, where it's going to be cold, it's going to be hot. You got to expect the unexpected. So, it was really good for our guys to go out there and compete in the rain. And I thought today was, overall was an all right day. There's things that we got to fix here within the next couple hours to look over film and correct for tomorrow.
Just a little bit of Tua there at the Dolphins mandatory mini camp, and just 2 days into it, the Titans going through theirs as well. We'll hear from Derrick Henry a little bit later in the show. Yeah. So we'll talk about that as NFL teams kind of getting back on the field a little bit, and so just kind of talking about all that. And a lot of people wanted to make a lot of fuss about Tua's 5 interceptions, so to speak, on day one of mandatory minicamp, and it was kind of funny to kind of look at social media and read some of the people just like, seriously? Yeah. We're talking about 5 interceptions on the first day of minicamp.
They're idiots. Don't know anything about football. Though, overreacting to stupidity. They don't even know the sometimes the circumstances, what's going on. You didn't see what's happening. It's just one of those quick gut reaction kind of things. And I still think Tua's is going to be the Dolphins quarterback for a long time if they'll surround him with talent and continue to build their football team. And I think they've built a good young football team. They have a good defense, even with the stupid trade of Minka Fitzpatrick, which was stupid. I mean, they got a first-round pick out of it. Hopefully, that's going to come. The player that they got is going to stay with the organization and become a great player. But you had a guy like Minka who you should have used in a different way. But still, Brian Flores, great defensive mind. I think defensively they made a lot of strides last year. They've got a chance to have one of the best young defenses in the NFL. Now you've got Tua. You're starting to surround him with weapons like Jalen Waddle. And so hopefully the Dolphins are on the come-up.
All right, guys, that's hour and gals. That's hour 1 in the books here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone's Talking Ball. Hour 2, we're going to talk about some lethal offenses in college football, problems for Arizona State and Herm Edwards. Plus, we'll hear from Derrick Henry. We got golf to talk about in hour 2. No shortage of conversations.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck at County Line and Mill. That one's causing some problems in Madison. 72 west of Mooresville Road coming out of Athens has also been slowing things down. Beltline and Gord Terry was working in Decatur, but it should be wrapped up. Popeye's 3-piece snack is only $4.99. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit. Popeye's University and Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Another beautiful afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Plenty of sunshine, not much in the way of any cloud cover. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. Many of us will finish the day a couple of degrees below where we should be this time of year. We should be consistently climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s, and that's just not something we're going to see for your Thursday. Dropping into the mid 60s as we head into the overnight. We are going to be a little warmer on Friday, still with plenty of sunshine. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This Action Update is brought to you by Keeps. Tired of losing your hair? Get 50% off for your first order at Keeps.com/VSiN. Keeps.com/VSiN.
After a heroic performance by Kevin Durant for the shorthanded Nets in Game 5, the Nets have a chance to clinch a spot in the conference finals with a win in Game 6 tonight in Milwaukee. The Bucks are a home favorite, -5.5, the over-under 220. Stanley Cup semifinals, the Lightning and Islanders tonight. The series tied at 1 game apiece. Tampa Bay, the road favorite, -145 on the money line. Islanders +125, the over-under 5. The U.S. Open underway today at Torrey Pines. John Rahm, the odds-on favorite at +1,000. Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, and Jordan Spieth each at +1,600. Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele at +1,800.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is hour 2 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I want to invite you to head to WZZN.halfoffdeal.com or 977ESPN.com. That is our website. Click on Zone Deals, and you can take part in $50 worth of food to the Hummus and Pita Company, as well as click on our 97.7 ESPN The Zone job link. You can click on that. Mr. Sparky is up there. Mr. Sparky looking for electricians. So get on out there. If you know somebody that needs a job, click on our job link there. If you are a business looking to hire, give us a call. We can help you try to fill some of those needs. 256-576-4977. And talk to Chad, and we'll get you all set up if you are a business looking to hire some individuals. Let's go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline to kick off hour number 2, because it's kind of like oil and vinegar with this guy. You never know what you're going to get. Could be good, could be bad. Jeff from the Borough with us as we kick off hour number 2.
How's it going, guys?
Good, Jeff. How are you?
Did you hear that song played in Atlanta last night? Did you hear that song? Did you hear it?
You mean when the Hawks were coming back from 26 down and beating the Philadelphia 76ers in the third largest comeback in the NBA? You bet we heard it.
That team, that was in Philadelphia. We're talking about in Truist Park. If this song.
Oh, you just said in Atlanta, so you didn't say Truist Park.
We ain't talking about Philadelphia. We're talking about Atlanta. Those balls are made for launching, and that's just what they'll do. One of those days, those balls are gonna launch all over you. That's Miller. The cutter don't cut, and Boston hit it 470 feet.
They certainly did.
Again, the Braves can't hold a lead, and again, they get beat. 10 more runs, wasn't it? 10 more runs.
Yep, so, that's true, Jeff.
So the worst bullpen in baseball, Sticker runs out there, gets it to Miller, and if I was that Boston batter, I'd have stared him down and told him he's a bum and just walked around the bases and said, oh, yeah, the Red Sox Nation rolls again. They roll on again. And as far as Tua guys, if he'd have thrown 5 touchdown passes, you guys would have held him as the next, Tom Brady or whatever it is. And again, Drew, more excuses from you, the rain or whatever it is, more excuses.
He's better than any quarterback Kentucky ever had, including Babe Parilli, who was coached by Paul Bear Bryant, and that's why Kentucky football is irrelevant and always will be, Jeff, especially when it's compared to Alabama. So you can shut your hole. I'm tired of it, and I'm going to take a chunk out of your ass today because John Calipari has won one national championship in his career, as many as Bobby Cox won World Series. So you come on here and act like Kentucky's the greatest thing of all time, and they are. They are a blue blood in basketball, but right now they're not worth a tinker's damn because they had a losing season, and now your coach is even putting word out there that he may want to return to the NBA. So what are you going to do if he returns, Jeff? What are you going to do, pal? You're not any good at anything but volleyball right now. Okay? Nothing but volleyball.
Every year. This happens every year when NBA coaches resign or get fired. It happens every year.
Well, right now, Nate Oates owns his ass, so that's all I know. Owns his ass. Understand that, Jeff. Omaha! That's what it is right now, buddy.
Let me tell you something.
Why aren't
they coming after Saban for the NFL? Because he sucks. He can't coach NFL ball.
I'm tired of you. Shut your mouth. Hang up on this jackass. Thank you. Goodbye. Everybody has been wanting that to happen, and you're done, Jeff. Shut up and go away. You bring nothing to this show but garbage. Stop smoking cigarettes. Learn to analyze sports. Bring something to the table that's not a bunch of garbage every day, and maybe we'll take your phone call. Go away, you clown. That felt good. Piece of trash.
256-576-4977.
Got a funny feeling there's a lot of people listening that are glad that happened, too. I'm about sick and tired of that clown. Come talk to me face to face if you want to, you joke.
Oh, goodness. 256-576-4977. That is how we start hour number 2 here on Talking Ball. Wow. There are so many ways that we can go from here on. And let's go with, let's talk about some of the most... I'm sorry. Let
him talk and talk and talk, and all he does is bring up the same points all the time because he's too stupid to come up with another point to have. And we try to placate him. We try to be positive. We gave Mark Stoops some credit yesterday. I've given him some credit. I've said that Kentucky basketball is a blue blood. They're going to bounce back. We try it over and over again, and all he wants to do is pick a fight. Well, he's not going to win it. I'm going to whip his ass every time because I'll forget more sports than that clown will ever know. So I'm paid to give my opinions, and all he wants to do is listen to sports talk radio all day and try to pick fights with everybody. Well, you're going to lose this one. Muhammad Ali just knocked your ass out.
256-576-4977. Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. So which teams in college football are projected to have the most lethal offenses this coming season? How many are there from the SEC? Will the SEC see any of these projected lethal offenses during the season? And they 24/7 says, okay, these are the 10 that we say. Kent State is on this list. And it's worth noting that Kent State will face off against Notre Dame later in the year, but they say Kent State has the potential to have one of the most lethal offenses. They led the country last year in 49.8 points per game in the season. So look for Kent State to have a viable lethal offense. Another one is what Lane Kiffin is going to have to stop later this year, and that is the Liberty Flames. I say Liberty has the potential to have one of the most lethal college football offenses this fall. And that comes later in the year. That could trip up Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss, they say, 24/7 Sports says they're one of the 10 teams in the country that will have one of the most lethal college football offenses this year. North Carolina, they add to the list. Oklahoma, they put on the list, as well as Clemson, Ohio State, and the last 3 is Georgia, Texas, and Alabama as the teams that will have the most lethal offenses this coming year in college football.
Well, we'll see. I'm not as sold on Georgia as some are. I think JT Daniels is good. I don't know if he's great. That receiver core has had some injuries. I know some still, including our good friend Jake Crane, who I respect a lot. Look forward to seeing him at SEC Media Days. He's got them as the number one receiver core in the league. And, of course, Arik Gilbert may have something to do with that, but first of all, he's got to be academically eligible, although I think we expect him to be there. But we don't know the impact he's going to have either. And so I do think they'll be able to run the football. I'm just anxious to see that game against Clemson because, again, it's my most anticipated opener just because of the fact that Georgia and Clemson are going to be in the top 5 in the country. It'll be as anticipated an opener as I think we've had since Alabama, Florida State. That one fell flat because of DeAndre Francois being knocked out of that game and Alabama dominating it defensively. But still, when you talk about two teams, Clemson, until they're knocked off, they're the top program in the ACC, even without Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. And then you look at Georgia, they've recruited so well, and they've got a lot of talent back defensively. They've added Kendrick in the transfer portal from Clemson to play that corner spot. So it's going to be interesting to see where all the pieces fit. Georgia's had some they lost most of their secondary, but they've retooled with a lot of transfers. And so it's going to be really interesting to see if the chemistry's there and how good Georgia is. They should still be, even with the loss of the great Monty Rice to graduation, the Buckets Award candidate, former James Clemens star now with the Tennessee Titans. They should still be really good at the linebacker spot. So I'm anxious to see those two teams and to see with a full season with JT Daniels if they are that explosive. Because I keep going back to this though, and Slovis is a great quarterback prospect at Southern Cal, but JT Daniels got hurt and lost his job there. So I want to see how good JT Daniels is from start to finish.
They put Texas on this list as the potential most lethal college football offenses this fall.
Well, they're playing.
Is that all Steve Sarkisian?
Yeah, that is all Steve Sarkisian because they lost their starting quarterback who decided to move on, and they were only, I thought, they were okay offensively last year. I didn't think they were at times super consistent, but that's just basing it off the brilliance of Steve Sarkisian and what he did at Alabama. And so we'll see. Now, I would more go toward that. I'd want to see it first and see, how the quarterback spot played out in training camp for Texas and, how Keelan Robinson kind of fits in there, what their running game looks like. They've certainly got Dijon Robinson, who was heavily recruited, who they really like a lot. But, I mean, how good is Texas going to be? I would be a little bit hesitant to say it was going to be that good right off.
Right.
I would say more going into year 2. But, again, Sark's done a great job wherever he's been offensively, and I think that's what they're basing that off of.
And then Alabama, obviously, you look at their offensive explosion last year. Do you expect the same offensive output this year as far as numbers go from Alabama? Or if we see different numbers, are people going to look at it and say, if it's slightly below, they're going to say, okay, well, they lost a lot, that's going to be fine. But if those numbers are significantly lower, are people going to say, well, it's Bill O'Brien and everything? Or is it the fact that Alabama lost just so much good talent that those numbers are going to be hard to duplicate this coming year?
Well, I think they're still going to be very explosive. I believe in the talent. I believe in Bryce Young. I think he's big time. I liked what I saw out of the receivers in the spring, the Javon Bakers, and we didn't see John Mechie, but we've already seen what he can do. I still think Slade Bolden with a bigger role can make plays. Now, it may not have as many explosive vertical plays because Jalen Waddle's a freak.
It's going to be hard to duplicate a lot of that stuff.
Smith, who's as good as any we've ever seen in college football. It may be a little bit different. And so you may like I was on another show yesterday talking about the tight ends, like Jaleel Billingsley, who came on last year after the Waddle injury,
right?
And also when Slade Bolden got a little nicked up, you may see him more involved. Cameron Latu, guys like that. And then I still think Javon Baker's a guy that can make plays. Trayshawn Holden, and we saw Jai Hall. Now there may not be as much deep vertical plays down the field. Though I will say Rodney Orr was talking about this yesterday, and we had him on TiderInsider.com. Jamison Williams, the transfer from from Ohio State, who's immediately eligible.
Yeah.
He is one guy that could give you that element of, blowing the top off and having vertical speed. So I'm not sure there'll be as much big plays, maybe from the passing game. It may be a shorter controlled one, but I still think they're going to be able to run the ball. They've got, three really good backs, in Brian Robinson, Roy Dale Williams, and Jace McClellan. And then we don't know the availability yet of Trey Sanders because, of course, of his injury. And then you've got Kamara Wheaton, who will be on campus as well. So I still think that Alabama's got plenty of weapons, but there's different ways to skin a cat. So it may be that Alabama is more, it's not going to be wad ball like they played early under Nick Saban. They're going to throw it around. I just don't know if they'll have as many big plays, but I still think that Bryce Young is more than capable of dissecting a defense, and these receivers, especially as the season goes on and they get more comfortable, be able to make plays, and I still think they'll be very, very productive. Just maybe in a little bit of a different way. Maybe it's more 8 to 10 play drives instead of 3 or 4 play drives where you're scoring so quickly.
That's some of the lethal offenses in college football to be on the lookout. And I tell you what, we talked about it with Rodney Orr yesterday. It didn't get a lot of attention because of his early stops. But boy, oh boy, everywhere you look now on Twitter, Twitter is a buzz. Social media is a buzz. All because Arch Manning is headlining coming to Alabama this weekend for his visit. And really, Drew, he's already visited Clemson. He's already visited 4 or 5 schools this summer for camps. And it was kind of like, okay, he's here, there. Now that he is coming to Alabama this weekend, it has seemed like it has just picked up enormously.
Well, it has, and our good friend B. Rich is listening, I'm sure. We need to get these segments sponsored by Soft and Green, talking about his favorite person, Arch Manning. Because with Arch coming, potentially, taking his talents to Tuscaloosa, we don't know where the young man's going to go. Certainly, he's just at the start of his junior year of high school, but he's going to make headlines wherever he goes, Scott. I mean, when he went to Clemson and worked out, it was all over social media. Certainly, Steve Sarkisian's going to have a say in this at Texas because they really like Sark's offense, and if he were still at Alabama, I think Alabama would be the prohibitive favorite. I don't know if you can say that now. But speaking of recruiting, I know we need to go back out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline for just a couple of minutes. I know Pat probably has a recruiting question or two for us this morning. How you doing, Pat?
Good morning, Drew. You got cut off a little while ago.
No problem.
Man, I wanted to touch base with you. I couldn't get. I was on hold for Hank. I couldn't get through to Hank this morning earlier on our morning show.
I got you.
But anyway, my question is, what is the latest on JTT with Coach getting the last shot at him? It appears to be that Alabama is going to get the last shot on the 25th. It looked like to me that he got an impermissible benefit out at Washington. They flew him around on a float plane, for God's sake. Did you hear anything about that?
I didn't hear about that, but you never know. It always seems like with how some of these recruiting stories are written and the things you hear, that it's like that they have almost different rules for different schools. I don't know, but JTT certainly that's his home state school in the state of Washington. I'm still hearing he's going to be here on the 25th for his last visit. Certainly, Pat. And if he is, I love Nick Saban in this situation. He's the ultimate closer. I know he's had a lot of Zoom calls with JT Tuilamoau talking about life after football. The young man wants to be an entrepreneur. He's talked to him about going into business. Nick Saban has his own car dealership, as you know, with the Mercedes dealerships that he has. And so it's going to be interesting. And I know that one of these things, too, I think Freddie Roach is starting to get more and more comfortable recruiting for Alabama. I'm hearing a lot of good things, a lot of things that he's done in recruiting during this particular summer. He's made a lot of big-time impressions on kids. And the thing is, the one good part is they've got JTT out there, but this particular 2022 group there's a lot of great defensive linemen out there. You're going to be losing guys like Fedarian Mathis, LeBron Ray going to move on to the NFL, so they need to sign a good defensive line group. It's probably the most important position group of this 2022 class. So, but JTT, I still like Alabama's chances once he gets on campus and he makes this visit. And I know he's going to make a decision probably shortly thereafter. So, personally, if Nick Saban and the group do a good enough job, maybe he won't even leave Tuscaloosa. We'll see, but it would be a cherry on top of the sundae of a recruiting class. I was joking with Rodney Orr yesterday. I don't know if you heard that, but right now they signed 27, but it's kind of indefinite because they've continued to add pieces to the recruiting class via the transfer portal and, of course, via even Australia with James Burnip, the 6'6" punter. So we're gonna see how this ends, but I do like Alabama's chances getting JTT last.
Yeah. Hey, do you think that bringing in that Australian rules punter, do you think that was due to the fact that we have such speed merchants to play gunners on the outside, with the addition of the young man out of Florida that is so fast? I mean, Coach Ray is saying that this guy is a speed merchant. And
Christian Leary, yeah.
Yes, sir. But we're having gunners like that because I went to a kicking camp there at Alabama. My son actually, at his age group, actually won the thing. But I was Chris Moore. Now, Chris Moore had unbelievable hang time. He had 4 Super Bowls in those Super Bowl ring, bless his heart.
Yeah.
And they had the thing was, there was a punter there from University of North Alabama. They could punt the ball 65 yards every darn time he kicked it. But then there'd be a 20-yard or better return. Well, that's not, you're still netting 40 yards or less, and so that's, if you have to kick your coverage, it's no good. But do you think that's probably what Coach is seeing as far as bringing in that Australian rules punter?
Well, he already brought in Jack Martin from Troy, too. I think the kid was just too good to pass up. And you've seen so many schools, LSU and others around college football, bringing in Auburn, also bringing in Australian rules punters. This kid's never punted in a game, but he's 6'6", 215 pounds, and I think they believe his potential is he could be the punter a year or two down the road, and you're going to get 4 years out of him. And they're still trying to find that guy like a J.K. Scott, who was such a game changer at Alabama. But, Pat, we appreciate the phone call.
Yeah, got to get to a break, Pat.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to a break. When we come back, Charlie Plott will be in studio with us as we talk U.S. Open golf.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Working on a wreck in Madison County Line and Mill. One coming out of Athens, 72 west of Mooresville Road. It should be just about wrapped up. The one in Decatur, Beltline and Gordon Terry, should be long gone. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman is an easy-to-use oral device. Insurance approved for sleep apnea and for snoring. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Doctor visits are important. Please don't put them off. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Listen to the Tom Abraham Show.
And he loves fishing.
The average shift is 52 seconds. If you get into a minute 10, minute 12, your legs are burning because they get out there and they go like hell. You're talking about skating and doing the other, the stick handling and everything else, but your legs just are on fire because you go so hard.
As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey. I miss the Knicks.
Listen to the Big Dog, weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare contracts, and in the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare contract, you'll pay nothing.
Were you lied to when buying a timeshare and want out? Get the facts about timeshare cancellation. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-967-7711. 800-967-7711. 800-967-7711.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
All right, time to welcome back you to Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And we have got an in-studio guest for you this morning. And he comes to us from Plott Performance. And he does when it comes for the majors. He comes in when we have the majors. And this is our third one of the year. We've had the Masters, the PGA Championship, and now the U.S. Open Championship. And this one comes from beautiful, and I mean beautiful, majestic Torrey Pines out on the West Coast. So you're going to get to stay up late a little bit. Not late, but you're going to get to stay up prime time and watch some U.S. Open golf on NBC this weekend. I mean, I think the finals, the final couple holes will finish around 5 o'clock on Sunday, right around there. So it's going to be a great day. Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful weekend for golf out there. Torrey Pines, I mean, come on.
Yeah, no doubt. And who better than to help us break it down live in studio from Plott Performance, and that is Charlie Plott. Charlie, welcome back. I know this is a weekend you always look forward to on the calendar each June.
It's exciting. It's something I absolutely love. Torrey Pines is the very first place I ever hit a golf ball.
Really? Did you sneak on there to play?
Well, back then it was about 20 miles out of town.
Okay.
And my dad was in the Navy as a doctor at the hospital there, and he would go hit golf balls. And when I was about 5, I remember the drive to Torrey Pines out in the middle of nowhere, and I hit my very first golf balls at Torrey Pines.
That is the golf course where Tiger Woods basically played on one leg.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of people remember that from being Torrey Pines. He would have been a favorite this year, probably heading back to Torrey Pines. No matter what kind of game his game was in, he would have been a favorite. But you look now this year, and there's a long list of favorites. There's a long list of guys this year that you can say, hey, they possibly could win the U.S. Open. I don't think you can say it's one guy or two guys that'll be there. It's a long list of guys.
It is. There's a lot of people. The guy I like going in is Xander Schauffele. Everybody goes, who in the world is that? I can't spell it. But I know I want it in a Scrabble game. That's all I can tell you.
And we've seen him in majors, be in contention. It's just he hasn't. I think he's had some top 5 finishes. I know he just hasn't broken through to win yet, and that's why he's probably not talked about as much as the Brooks Koepkas and certainly Dustin Johnsons and people of that nature.
Well, and length becomes an issue this week. It's really long, and one of the things to watch for is you'll hear a lot on the broadcast about the marine layer, this cold air that comes in off the Pacific and settles in there, and in the morning it is really cold, and the ball will not travel very far. So if you have length and you have accuracy, which Schauffele does, that can be a big advantage. It also brings in Brooks Koepka and Jon Rahm, who I think would be a great story after getting pulled out of a tournament he was leading. And this would be exacting some revenge. I know he would love to have won the Memorial, but boy, he'd take a U.S. Open before that in a heartbeat.
Oh, mentally, what does that do to you? I mean, Jon Rahm comes off the golf course on a Saturday. He's leading. He's, everything is going his way. He tests positive for COVID. They tell him on the court, basically right there on the 18th green, that you're done. Now he gears up for the U.S. Open. He was playing really great golf when they made him stop. So now as a golfer, you're thinking, okay, if I can just carry that over to this week, I'll be okay. Mentally, how does he prepare for this week?
Well, that is a great question, and everything in psychology is kind of shades of gray. It could go this way, it could go that way. Rahm has a tendency to act like a victim on the golf course. He will get mad and pouty over things that don't go his way. That's one of the things I'm watching for. Does he walk out there acting like a victim, or does he go out there as a man on a mission? This guy has length. He can putt. He is a powerful golfer, and everybody believes he's going to win some majors. He's going to do this sort of stuff. But I'm looking for that body language right off the bat, because you know what's going to happen in the U.S. Open. You're going to be a victim. And golf is a game of how good is your bad most of the time. That's kind of what it is. The U.S. Open absolutely defines that. If you can get out with bogey and not double or triple bogey, you've done something. So I think this course is going to play different than we see during February when they usually play there. They've done some things with the rough, moved some fairways over, and that sounds awful. They just mowed it closer to the canyon on a few holes. They're bringing trouble into play, and you're going to be a victim. You're going to be a victim of the golf course, and if Rahm carries over this victim mentality, which could be easy. I mean, if I'm winning a tournament and then they pull me off of there,
you're blaming the PGA Tour. You're blaming everything. Yes, yes.
And so I'm looking for that. If he comes out and has great body language and plays on a mission and overcomes difficulty, look for Jon Rahm. He has everything it takes to win on this golf course.
I mean, and that would be significant, because you just had to feel for him because he was playing at such a high level. He's along the lines of a Xander Schauffele as well, a guy that probably, Charlie, on that short list now that you don't want to be on, and that's the best players to never win a major.
Exactly. That list has some names on it that are huge, but they're getting older, and you really wonder if they're going to be able to compete on a course like this. This is a West Coast golf course, and you tend to have certain horses for certain courses. And, man, those guys who grow up on the West Coast, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, they've excelled on this golf course. It'll be interesting to watch Mickelson.
Yeah, especially after what we saw a month ago.
Exactly. And he attributed that to mental game training, that he made practice so hard and forced himself to concentrate that he played better. I noticed it in his pre-shot routine at the PGA. That it was different. Let's see if he can bring that back here. It could be a golf course that plays really long, but if you can hit it in the fairway, never one of Mickelson's greatest attributes, but if he hits it in the fairway, he can putt on these greens. Guys, the greens are Poana. You get that coming up in your yard around here in the wintertime, and they make that a putting surface. It is really smooth in the mornings. It grows every day, so in the afternoons you'll see it get bumpy. So really watch for the difference in scores in the morning and in the afternoon. I think the mornings are going to be very tough.
They're going to get started at 8:45 our time this morning, so in about 12 minutes, the first groups will tee off there at Torrey Pines as we get the U.S. Open underway. And we'd be remiss, though, too. 30 years ago, Payne Stewart won his U.S. Open. And I'm sure that's going to get talked about this week on the coverage, remembering Payne Stewart and where we are now with the game of golf.
You know, that strikes emotion just as you talk about it. Payne was such a polarizing sort of person, very opinionated, very, very dressed with the knickers and did all this stuff. But he was absolutely loved by his competitors, and he had a lot of love for them. And I have been around people who were very, very close to him, Paul Azinger being one of those. And Paul spoke at his funeral. It was dramatic, and it was Mickelson, and you start thinking about part of the things that go on in golf and how people have such long careers, you know, and Payne Stewart making the putt at Pinehurst and grabbing Mickelson in his face and going, "You're about to be a dad," and it was profound. I'm sure it will be brought up. I have had 3 friends of mine play Pinehurst in the last month, and they cannot come to that 18th green
and
not relive that, watching it on TV in their head.
Well, that leads me into this next question then, because you talk about being so loved and everybody rolled around him. This feud with DeChambeau and Koepka, is it how much of it is a feud? How much of it is, these guys playing off of it? And is it dividing the tour at all?
I don't think it has anything to do with it. I see guys, when I've been out on tour, in the locker room, and you're going, oh, man, they rub each other the wrong way. And they're sitting there talking, drinking coffee, and having a good time. Some of it, I'm sure, Koepka is kind of like that, and DeChambeau is very polarizing for a lot of reasons. I see Brooks as probably not really liking DeChambeau, but is it going to be that big of a deal? It won't be, WWE if they get paired together.
Well,
it'd be a good one to watch.
I've heard a lot of people don't like Brooks too. So hey,
yeah, and
he's not the most loved dude.
He is not a real happy person in general. I mean, I'm sure he has joy in his life, but I've watched him in college, and he just.
Are we describing Jeff here? That's what
There's one golfer though on the tour that I know is loving all of this, and that's Patrick Reed.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about
the man with the black hat.
Everybody was painting Patrick Reed as a villain on the tour. And now everybody's talking about Koepka and DeChambeau. They're not talking at all about Patrick Reed.
No, and if you remember, Patrick Reed, I guess it was back this past winter, had a ruling, or people felt like he took advantage of a ruling. He thought his ball was plugged, but on replay you could see it bounce, so it probably wasn't plugged. He didn't know that. I mean, that's the thing. He didn't know that. I'm not trying to defend him, but he keeps having these brushes with the rules. And just taking advantage of things. He calls himself Captain America and all of this, and he's had some great runs in the Ryder Cup. But you're right. All of a sudden, Patrick Reed is not the enemy. Patrick Reed would probably be in my top 3 as somebody that I think could win.
I was going to say, is any one of those guys that we just got done talking about, Koepka, DeChambeau, Reed, are they anywhere near? Should we be talking about them on Sunday?
I think so. And Bryson, if he said he's going to go bomb it, this is the deal with the weather. He gets a ball speed. Imagine this, people. You hit the ball and it comes off your club face at 190 miles an hour. You get over 170 and the ball will carry typically about 300 yards. They said on the range with the radar things that they set up, that he was hitting it and had a ball speed of 190, and the carry was about 305 yards. He's losing 50, 60 yards due to the weather conditions. I think that's significant. Everybody else is losing yardage as well. So look for him to thrive in the afternoon, but he's going to have a morning tee time and have to face the cool weather in the morning. It's going to be like 2 different golf courses.
The best thing about the U.S. Open, though, is that this is the one major that anybody, Drew, you can qualify for and get out there and play. No, it is true, though. I mean, it is true.
We're not Tony Romo here.
Yeah, though. I mean, but the thing of it is there a feel-good story from this weekend that you've kind of looked over and said, okay, look, we've talked a lot about the ROMs and everything, but is there a feel-good story from this weekend?
I don't know, because I haven't gone and looked at the amateurs or the also-rans that qualify. You have to have like a handicap below 2, and they may have dropped it. I saw one, maybe 1.2. So you've got to be a par shooter to even enter. They won't accept your entry, but they will have thousands. I just in the last week I've caddied twice for clients in the U.S. Junior Am.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like that. They have qualifying all over the place. You play in the U.S. Open, you play 18 holes to get to another round, and then they'll have a 36-hole event, and you have to finish very high in that. A lot in the Junior Am I was at this week, there were 70 people for 3 places. And you will go, and I've tried to do this in the past and never made it, but I would go to qualify for the U.S. Open, U.S. Amateur, and we would have 70 people playing for 2 spots.
Wow.
And then you go to another stage that will have another, 100+ people, and they'll take 5, they'll take 7. So you can get there, but man, you better be on your game in order to get there.
Well, speaking of being on your game, I know you've got a webinar coming up tonight, Charlie.
Oh, I do. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And putting is a huge part of winning any major. And I know you and your good friend Brian Smith, the Plott Performance Certified Golf Instructor, are going to be putting on a webinar tonight presented by Plott Performance.
Yeah, just go to our website, plottperformance.com. There's a registration button. It is free. I had my eyes open 25 years ago as I started working with tour players. I ran across a guy named Mike Shannon. He is a putting guru, worked with Tiger, worked with everybody. And he said one day, why don't you run and get your putter? Because I told him I was a really bad putter. And he started showing me things that we will talk about tonight, revolutionized my game. I used to never be able to have less than 33 putts in a round. I had 21 twice since I learned this stuff. We're going to share secrets that tour players have to really excel at putting. Putting is the least athletic thing I think you can do in any sport anywhere.
Jeff could show us that.
But it is also brutally difficult. It's like somebody goes, why in the world is it so hard to move a putter 6 inches back and forth and do it right? We're going to tell you tonight it will last probably 30, 35 minutes, and we would love to have a crowd. Just go to plottperformance.com and click on Putt Your Way. And
Can you give us one thing? Can you give us one little nugget from today? Well, what's one putting?
You need to know whether you see straight lines or curves when you putt. Some people look at any breaking putt and go, oh, it's 2 cups out on the right.
Yes.
And they can hit it there. Other people, what would happen to me is if I looked 2 cups out on the right, I'd hit it perfectly and it would go 2 cups out on the right. Mike Shannon told me the secret of how to solve that dilemma, and we will share it with you tonight.
Now, that's a tease. That is a tease right there.
It is. And any chance, it was so magical a month ago. Can Phil be in contention this weekend?
I hope so. I think it would be such a great story. I would love to see Rahm and Koepka and Bryson and Phil up there.
And your guy Xander.
Xander will be the one 5 strokes ahead of all of them, but that's just my guy.
Do they do anything to make this course tougher throughout the week if it's getting too easy for them?
The thing they'll do is not water it and make it hard.
Will they make it hard, do you think, or where do you think the scores will sit?
I think if you break par on this golf course, it's going to be something else.
Really? Wow.
5 under maybe, but I
win it 5 under?
Maybe.
Woo!
Maybe.
Wow.
All right, U.S. Open getting ready to tee off here in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it really
out
is.
there on the West Coast.
But I also want to give a shout out to his better half, his wife. Congrats on the new gig. So it was official now.
It is official. She is now the middle school athletic director at JP2.
Nice.
There we go. All right.
And there's another major announcement. We're not going to let the cat out of the bag with JP2 with another good friend of ours that we can't wait to talk about soon as well. So
That's
a lot
right.
of great things happening over at JP2 right now.
It's really cool, and we absolutely loved our time at Westminster, and there's a new season of a new time of life. So Justin has graduated, and
on his way to Bama.
Matter of fact, today is sign up for your move-in time.
Oh,
so
there you
at 3
go.
o'clock this afternoon, he has to get online and do that.
No,
All right, one more time. Tonight, Plott Performance.
Yep, Putt Your Way, and I promise you, things that are so simple, but tour players know them, and you don't. I didn't until I got out there and learned them, and it will make a difference in your game.
All right, Charlie Plott with us in studio this morning. Let's get our final break in. When we come back, your tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got one new accident. This one is at Slaughter and Yancey, or near the intersection there. That's south of 72 on Slaughter. That one is being reported with injuries. Everything else should be cleared out of the way now. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. Do your methods to lose weight no longer work for you? Odds are your hormones are the problem. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Braves baseball is celebrating 150 years, and this 2021 team is looking to kick down the door and make this season one for the history books.
Swing and a fly ball hit deep toward their bullpen. Are you kidding me? Another pinch hit homer.
Your new home of the Atlanta Braves.
Hit high in the air to deep right center field. We are tied!
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sitting here with Ann Adams of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate. Is it a good time to sell your home, Ann?
Yes, it is. We have people relocating from all over the country.
Why should we choose Rise Real Estate?
Well, we've been selling real estate in North Alabama for 36 years and have sold more real estate than any other real estate company, period.
Do you help your customers through the entire process?
Yes, our agents are with you during the whole process from start to finish, from beginning to end.
In your relocation services, you have a whole team.
Yes, we have a dedicated relocation department helping customers move seamlessly into the area.
Ann Adams has been writing contracts for the last 36 years. She has the experience to help you list and sell your home, downsize your home, or help pick the perfect spot north of Alabama for you to build a future.
Call Ann Adams at 256-337-2625 or on the web at www.bhhsriserealestate.com. If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. I hope all of you are well. These are trying times we're experiencing right now, and I want you to know that we at Baumhauer's are committed more than ever to providing a legendary dining experience to everyone. Everyone is important to us, and everyone is welcome. Please allow us to serve you in a way that makes you feel safe, appreciated, welcome, and special. Because we're all special in the eyes of the ones and the one that counts. God bless.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your headlines, really. U.S. Open golf teeing off about 3 minutes ago in Torrey Pines. We'll update you on your round 1 leaders tomorrow. Team USA will continue to build in the pool as the U.S. Olympic swimming trials continue in Omaha. And it's a headline that is in the past. But June 17th, 1994. We're going to go back in the history machines for this final couple minutes here. You remember where you were June 17th, 1994, as far as sports history goes. Arnold Palmer, Drew, played in his final U.S. Open. His final round in the U.S. Open, June 17th, 1994. Ken Griffey Jr. tied Babe Ruth's record. The World Cup begins in the U.S. for the first time. The New York Knicks, Houston Rockets meet in Game 5 of the NBA Finals when the NBA was the NBA. And then, of course, on this day, Drew, June 17th, 1994, we got the O.J. Simpson chase.
Man, I can still remember watching the NBA Finals when it was actually worth a tinker's damn. And it was back then when Robert Horry and the Houston Rockets and Hakeem the Dream, all those guys, Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith winning their first of back-to-back championships. And
I believe Jeff Van Gundy was the coach of the Knicks. Was Van Gundy the coach of the Knicks at that time?
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite games of all time, Game 7, John Starks goes like 1 for 15 when the money's on the table. Because everybody thought since Jordan retired, the Knicks were going to win a championship. I've always hated the Knicks. Sorry, Czar. And it was great to see the Rockets break through. But I'll never forget watching that, how surreal it seemed. And as that was going on during the NBA Finals. They were basically breaking in during the action to watch OJ and see what he was going to do.
256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Where were you during the O.J. Simpson chase? How much of it do you remember? Do you remember watching it on TV? Did it captivate you like it did so many other Americans? 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Another big, I guess you could say, another big topic. We didn't get to it yesterday because, well, it does have to do with boxing, and that is Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury held a joint press conference the other day ahead of their July 24th fight. Yep, the trilogy is back. And here is both boxers. First, we start with Tyson Fury on how he's ready. Whoops, I had the ESPN preview up for the 30 for 30 on where we were on this day in history. Here is Tyson Fury on how he is ready to, I guess you could say, just run over. Some of this boxing stuff is great. How he's ready to run over Deontay Wilder.
I gave my game plan away the first time because he wasn't good enough to do anything about it. And I'll do the same thing this time because he's not good enough to do anything about it. Deontay Wilder's a one-trick pony. He's got one punch power. We all know that. Great. But what I'm going to do to Deontay Wilder this time is I'm going to run him over as if I'm an 18-wheeler and he's a human being. And I guarantee you he does not go past where he did before. Because before I only had 5 or 6 weeks of practicing what I was going to do to him. This time I've had 18 months of practicing what I'm going to do to him. So I anticipate it's going to be like an 18-wheeler running over somebody. And that's what you're going to see. I'm building my weight up. I'm trying to get up to 300 pounds for this fight. Because I'm looking for a big knockout straight away.
And Wilder, of course, has to come back with a response. His lone comment in the presser.
I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'd like to thank my amazing team. And I'd like to thank my strong legal team as well. Look, enough said. Time to cut off his head. And come July the 24th, there will be bloodshed. Get your tickets now. I'll see you soon.
The heavyweight championship of the world. Be rooting hard for Deontay. He certainly looked overmatched the last time. We'll see if Fury takes this seriously. Personally, I hope he doesn't. I hope he gets his British ass knocked out. But I'd like to see Deontay get the belt back. I think he's a class act. We, of course, had a chance to talk to him at the Super Bowl in Atlanta. Great guy, great representative, great story for boxing. Fury's a better pure fighter, though. I mean, he's a better all-around boxer. We know that Deontay, though, has as much punching power as anybody in the sport, and it just takes one, man. Just remember, I always remember George Foreman, Michael Moore. Michael Moore had the belt. Foreman kept saying all it takes is one punch, and he was able to win the belt in his mid-40s. So you never know what's going to happen. Certainly, it is an uphill battle for in that third chapter for Deontay Wilder. First fight was a draw. Second fight, Fury won decisively. Now this is going to be probably the last fight in this series. But if Deontay Wilder could pull this upset and beat Tyson Fury, it certainly would set him up for some big money fights down the road, perhaps with Anthony Joshua.
All right, the other big headline kind of came out a little bit ago. If you follow tennis, Rafael Nadal has pulled out of Wimbledon and the Olympics. So no Rafael Nadal in the Olympics or Wimbledon. There's also another hearing going on, and believe it, at 9 o'clock. In about 5 minutes on Capitol Hill, there'll be yet another Senate hearing on name, image, and likeness. This time, the Supreme Court of the United States will be releasing decisions on which might be NCAA versus Alston. They're going to the Supreme Court is going to release decisions today. There's a feeling maybe the NCAA versus Alston will be a part of that decision. We'll just have to wait and see what comes out of that. But that is what's going on Capitol Hill today with the NCAA and name, image, and likeness.
And we'll talk about it even more in the coming days, but Arizona State football. Oof.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. Herm Edwards is
and we love Herm Edwards.
Are in trouble. Yahoo is reporting several recruiting violations. These came out after an anonymous person sent a list of dozens of pages to the Arizona State Athletic Department, include screenshots, receipts, pictures, emails of numerous potential violations within the Arizona State football program. The NCAA enforcement staff is in possession of the said documents. These all come out during the dead period, and apparently Arizona State is believed to have at least 30 players having unauthorized visits to campus over a span of several months during the dead period. It could mean loss of jobs. They do not know if Herm Edwards was aware of all of this or everything that's going on. But still, though, it is a really tough time now with Arizona State. Upwards of 30 players on campus during the dead period doing visits.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of heard some rumblings of something going on the West Coast that could be a major story, and this obviously was it. Herman Edwards, they've been getting better every year at Arizona State since he took that job. We don't know what is true and what is not. We certainly hope that Arizona State can come out of the other end of this in good shape, but it doesn't sound good. Obviously, a competitor turned them in and got this information. So it's going to be a story to follow for sure, because they're probably one of the three favorites. It's probably, I would say, a three-team race. Everybody's talking about Oregon. You're talking about USC. You're talking about Arizona State in that league. So
Washington.
We'll see. We'll see about Washington going forward. But yeah, you feel for Herman Edwards and Arizona State football right now. But we want to thank Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com. We talked some A&M in first hour. Great having Charlie Plott, Plott Performance. Please go to www.plottperformance.com tonight for that webinar on putting your way from 7 to 8 with Charlie and, of course, Brian Smith, his certified golf instructor.
All right, Trash Pandas got a win last night. They're hot on dog days. And, guys, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning. Steve Moulton going to be sitting in for Drew DeArmond. You're leaving me again on a Friday.
Yeah, we looked like a road trip. Huntsville High School, they're headed to Georgia for some big-time summer play date basketball in front of a lot of college coaches. That program continuing to rise up.